5:30. It's about 5:33, so it's past time to start our regular meeting. With a roll call, please.
Commissioner Patton.
Here.
Commissioner Barwick.
Here.
Commissioner Webb.
Here.
Commissioner Stecklin.
Here.
Mayor Absher.
Here. Ed, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. That brings us to item number 3 on the agenda, which is our area for public comments, audience to visitors. I know we've got a whole cadre of people from Veterans on Parade that want to speak about just less than 3 months from now. I guess we've got our parade coming up.
Thank you, Mayor, for allowing me to speak so I can go home early tonight. If I don't have traffic somewhere along the line, it only took me 4 hours plus to get down here today. People can't drive, I guess. I don't know. I need a helicopter is what I really need. Or move back. That's the other alternative.
There you go. Move back.
Move back. Anyway, thank you, City Council, for being a part of what and this city of Marion has done for being our 21st year that we're having this parade. I mean, every year I see, it's a long way from that first parade where we had 21 units and we're wondering if we were going to have a second one. And here we are 21 years later, and last year we had 172 units in the parade. And you know what even added to it was we didn't have to go to the fairgrounds. We kept it downtown Marion. We ended the parade at Washington School. We'll do the same this year. With the stage, it just made it easier for people to walk in the parade, to see the parade, to listen to what some of the speakers had to say, and to showcase it a little bit better. So I appreciate that the stage, and I understand from Mr. Moak, we're going to have the stage again, but across the street this time. That'll be fine, as long as we have a stage, it works out to our advantage and everybody else. This year, I attended, about 3 weeks ago, I was down running around doing stuff, and Don Trombetta and I, he's my secretary, we went to a meeting with a 98-year-old World War II veteran who was in the first wave on Iwo Jima. This guy was unbelievably lucid, more lucid than some people I know in government. Not here.
Okay.
Except here.
Thanks for the clarification.
But I have to tell you, this gentleman, he gave a slide presentation with an overhead. He had pictures. He was actually a duck driver. And what he did was bring troops on, along with ammunition. Then he'd bring injured soldiers back to the hospital ship. Then he'd go over and pick up ammo and some more soldiers and bring them back to the beach. He had a heck of a story, and Don was just a pleasure. I invited him to be in the parade this year as an honorary veteran, honorary Grand Marshal of World War II veteran. And he lives down in Grand Island, Kentucky. Does anybody know what that is? I didn't really get into it with him, but that's where he said he lives. But he travels around close to home, and he speaks about his times as a doughboy, as they said in those days. Another person that I've invited, and he's accepted, I won't mention any names, it'll just be a surprise at this point, because I want to do a story about him in the Marion Star, besides Don. This gentleman is a local boy. I've known him as a young kid. He went on to West Point, graduated, spent over 20 years in the military, and doesn't live locally, but he's coming back for the parade. He's heard so much about it from his dad, who's a veteran, and he's going to be a part of this year's parade. And especially a local guy, a local boy that really made good when it came to the military. So there's a couple other things I'm working on. It's so tough. We are around the Patriots Day weekend, which is why this parade was decided to have around Patriots Day, because there's nobody more patriotic than a veteran. And it's tough to get military stuff because they're going to bases or they're going to. It bugs me, and I'll say it here publicly, when I see flyovers at football games and baseball games, and we can't get a flyover. You know, I'm trying something, a new tactic this year. I hope to have one. We did have one plane one year, B-52 bomber, but it was so high up, you need binoculars to see him. So this time around, we're going to do something different. I'm working with somebody out of Scott, so I hope it works out. But the parade is scheduled for Saturday, September the 6th, 10 a.m. We'll have 2 starting points, as we always do. The junior high is where the parade actually starts at 10. We usually have first responders there. We also have the Shriners, and we have the walkers. To keep it safe, mostly all the vehicles, floats and everything go out to the high school. And I want to introduce a person that is on my staff, and he's just been nominated and taken the position of president, because we want to make sure, God forbid, if he calls me home, this parade goes on, because we're always going to have veterans in this country. Dan, you're right, AKA Shooter. Now, let me clarify that a little bit, since I'm the police chief here. Shooter's a member of the 2nd Brigade Motorcycle Club. And, you know, when we lost another motorcycle club out of Vienna, we ended up picking this club up, and they've done unbelievably great for us. And they're usually parade marshals. We don't need, the biggest help we need is on parade day. You know, to get everything organized and get everything moving and lined up and what have you. But Danny is our new vice president, and he'll be contacting the chief of police and the fire chief. We have Don Trombetta next, he's our secretary. And then we have Mary, Gabby. We have, you know, not just, in order to be on the board, you have to be a veteran. That was one of the rules of our bylaws. Then we have Candy, is the wife of Danny. By the way, Dan Shooter has 2 children in the Navy, in the submariners. So it's he's ideal, and he's another Navy guy like me. So he's ideal to do what needs to be done. Then we have Karen Robinson, has been with me like Mary forever. You know, when I moved away, I needed some contacts here that were retired, because this job takes a lot of doing things locally. And Karen did that as Mary did, so it's worked out. There's some other members couldn't be here tonight, but I want to thank the city for what they do, Mayor. You know, we're looking to raise some additional funds this year if we want to bring back the bagpipe band. You know, last year, that was a chunk of money to bring them up on that bus. That bus is a $2,300 knock. And I only raised enough money to have the parade each year. Actually, we have the money for this year's parade. What I'm going to be raising here in the next month is going to be for next year's parade, so we know we have the money to have the event. So, with that, I just want to thank, again, Mayor, City Council, Mr. Moak, the Chief, Hank. Tammy, too, I get her involved once in a while. So, thank you very much.
We're looking forward to it, guys, as always.
Pardon? You good? You want to say something? You good? Okay. Anybody who needs a card, the date, September 6th, 10 a.m., Saturday. You know, it's funny, next year, I looked at next year's date. It's the day after Patriots Day. It's the 12th. So, but we will be back. If I'm not here, somebody will be here. So, anybody need a card with my information? If you have any questions, we good?
I think I memorized your phone number now.
All right. Thank you very much, Mayor.
Thank you.
Everybody.
Thanks, Ed.
You guys vamoosing? And go eat dinner?
We're gonna,
I gotta fix dinner, he's gotta go back to work.
Okay.
He's gotta go to St. Louis.
Okay, anybody else want to speak to the council? Okay.
Mr. Mayor, Council, my name is Joe Fry. I live at 107 East Marion Street. I had planned to come up this evening to talk about the results of the last zoning board meeting regarding rezoning of 301 South Market Street. But I understand that that's been tabled for right now. And my name is up here as well, Kelly. McMullen. And she was up here for basically the same purpose. But rather than just waste my trip of coming up here, even though the proposed construction has been tabled, there were a couple of the things I wanted to address. As I foresaw, I thought that the construction proposed by Mr. Jeff Mayer was a done deal, was approved by the zoning board, and I had a lot of concerns about that I wanted to talk to you about. But assuming that that construction was going to go ahead as planned, or if anything even similar does happen in the future, I'd like you to consider a couple things. Traffic being the primary concern that I have. And I'm wondering, and I don't know what the official or recommended way for making these recommendations is, if it's just to call Mr. Moak, or if there's a form I have to fill out. But I want to throw this out there. Sometime back, East College Street was made one way between South Market and Madison, I believe. I assume, so when people deposited mail off of Madison Street, rather than having to turn, if they wanted to turn right on the East College, and maybe there'd be a chance of them hitting head on with traffic coming west-east down East College. I assume that's why that was made one way. I think those mailboxes are gone now at the post office. What happened was, when that was changed to one way there on East College Street, all that traffic came over to East Marion. It doubled our traffic over there. I'm guessing doubled. It increased it significantly, I'll put it that way. And I'm wondering if we can't get that reversed now. And I don't know, also, Madison Street beside the post office there, I think is also one way. Probably was made that way so when people was at the drop boxes, you know, that would cause a problem from anyone wanting to turn in to Madison Street off of East College. So I don't know why that's one way either. What that does, if you've got anybody come from the east side of town, down East College Street, and they get up there at the intersection of what would be East College and Madison, they can't turn right, they can't go straight ahead, they have to turn left and come over to East Marion Street. So we're getting a lot of unnecessary traffic over in that area that I'd like you to consider. In my mind, I don't know all the other impacts it would have, but taking those one-way signs down, I think would help a lot.
I don't remember when those were made one way. I think it was before I was elected, but
They were made one way because the parking at the post office backed out into the.
Was since I was here?
northbound lane. Just before that.
okay.
It's
My-
been that way a long
My
time.
perception of college specifically, not so much Madison, but is that with the Salvation Army at the time was taking deliveries, that's their drop off and things like that for the donations. That street is so narrow. And furthermore, there is no setback essentially on the building that corners Market and College, southeast corner. There's no setback there. It's a blind spot, a terrible, terrible blind spot. between those two factors is why I thought that was probably made one way whenever it was. It's just that,
College was that.
yeah, college.
If I remember right, I believe the parking issue when we did the Market Street parking redesign or whatever,
Okay.
and forced everybody over on the WBVN side and nothing on the west side, that came into play because as you go out to College to Market, the mouth of that street's not wide enough. In other words, the curb, the turning radiuses are not wide enough to accommodate two cars going opposite directions. So it was easier just to make that a one-way and make it a right in and a right out. I'm sorry, not a right in, but a right out only, and make it one way. Because,
I do see your point, though. If you're westbound on East College,
right,
you can't get back to Market without turning left and then back onto Marion. I do see where that would be
They all
increasing
come
some
down
traffic.
East Marion Street.
Right.
So I know there are other considerations than us over there having to put up with that traffic, but
Okay.
I asked you to look at that and see what you can do to alleviate it.
Okay.
One other item, again, thinking that I was going to have even more traffic due to this insurance business and his wanting to use the alley as a major part of the alley. Let me explain myself. Off of East Marion Street, right between, East Marion and Thorn Street, there's an alley right behind the 301 South Market. It used to be, I think, when the city was first designed, it was called South Franklin Street. It was just an alley now. But anyway, Mr. Mayor wanted to use that alley as the access for his business, not only the residents that were going to be there, he had 10 parking spots in the rear on the east side, but he had parking spots for the business, for patrons on the north side. So, again, thinking, here we're going to have even more traffic and more congestion, and people going down the alley, which is very small, and her rear door is
20 feet. I
20
measured it.
feet.
20 feet from the edge of the pavement to the doorstep.
and I could just
You live
envision-
south?
I live at 307 South Market. I'm at the corner of South Market and Thorn.
Okay, so south of where his place is, right?
Yes.
Yes.
So
She's got the-
as the alley would go south, you live next, the next house?
Yes, yes. It's an empty lot and I'm the house, so that alley is all behind.
And
Okay.
I actually also own the one right across from her, 108 East Thorn. So it would impact my other property as well, if they're coming down the alley. So again, not wanting to stand in the way of progress, I'm just thinking of ways we could accommodate without, destroying our little neighborhood there. And first I thought, well, I'll ask to vacate the alley. And I didn't think that would be very practical and would be too much of a burden on his plans. But I don't see why we couldn't vacate the last, from the southeast corner of 301 South Market, her property line and Mr. Mayor's, why we couldn't vacate the alley from there over to Thorn Street.
So that you didn't have through traffic, is what you're getting at, right?
We could put a fence
I don't know that you necessarily have to vacate it. There may be utilities and things through there, and those are platted for utility easements and things. That doesn't mean there necessarily is, but there's other ways you could block it off or something, probably. But as you alluded, I'm not sure these guys knew about it yet. Thanks for letting the cat out of the bag. But we're going to table these items at the owners of that property request. So my understanding, just to be clear, within context, and I'll announce it again when we get down there, but his building cost estimate came back in between the time he had this zoning board action and this meeting, and I think he's a little gobsmacked by the building cost and doesn't exactly know what he's going to do. It may be modified, as I explained to you guys. It may be completely changed. He may do nothing at this point. I don't think he knows. So until he knows, I don't know that we should, like, for example, this alley issue, I don't know if there's a necessary reason to say, oh, well, we're going to block it off. He may do nothing and nothing changes at this point. So I would like to see what it is he's proposing, if and when he proposes anything. And he may circle back and do this same thing, of which we've got your contact information, and I'll let you know about it. I certainly think as far as the alley and Marion Street traffic, I think those things make sense. I understand where you're coming from. I'm not exactly sure what the fix is, but we'll have to discuss those things, and particularly makes sense not to have traffic. What is Thorn not Thorn? What's the next street past Marion? That alley spills out. It is on Thorn.
It is Thorn.
So that alley runs from Marion to Thorn. So I can understand that, especially if it's a 20. I understand.
And I was just thinking about limiting the traffic.
I understand.
Because they would still be able to use it for backing out
To
of
park.
residential, from 301 South Park.
Okay. Well, I guess the issue then becomes, how are they parking behind that building? Is it at an angle, and would they straight on?
Straight in.
So they would be able to do a 3-point basic turn and get back out onto Marion?
Back out into the alley and take off.
Okay.
I don't think it would hinder them.
Yeah. I'm just saying, I don't know that you have to vacate the alley to solve that problem. That might actually be a little overkill. Because at the end of the day, even if you vacated it, if it's still open, people still might want to try to dart down there. I think you'd have to block it off. But that's
And we probably would.
my opinion.
If we could get it vacated, we'd probably just put a fence right across there.
Okay. Well,
To my knowledge, I asked the gas guy, there's no gas line running underneath that alley. I don't think there's sewer or water.
okay.
But of course, that had to be confirmed.
There's one easy way to tell if there's sewer there.
Oh,
Start digging. Find out fast.
And one last item that I'd probably hear about from my wife if I didn't mention. I know a while back I emailed Cody about the lighting of the new parking lot over there in front of us.
Lighting?
I'm sorry.
Lighting? Okay.
Lighting.
Okay.
My mouse is a
No, I'm having a hard time. Yeah.
And you accommodated us. You got some huge halogen lights put up which do a good job of lighting the parking lot, and I think deterring crime. But those lights point right at my house.
Uh-huh.
And I think it was a temporary fix anyway, isn't it? Don't you have some better looking lighting coming for that parking lot? Or?
I don't know about that. Can those heads be aimed differently? Yeah.
Okay. And
So you want less light, not more light now, right?
I don't want to.
On you.
Come over to my front porch, Mayor. You'll see what I'm talking about at night. It's blinding. I feel like I'm going to be
Okay.
interrogated for something.
I understand. Maybe that's the easiest of all things to solve, I hope. So that is possible, Doug?
Yes,
Okay. Do we do that, or do we have to have Ameren come do that?
make a request to Ameren.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
We'll make that request tomorrow. Okay.
Thank you.
Well, I don't see anybody else, so we'll move on to item number 4 on the consent agenda. Just as a note of order, I want to make a point that obviously item A2 there is part of the Boynton Street project. Those fees were anticipated in part of the budget that you've already approved. And item number 3 was part of an energy grant that we received, so that is funded already. Or do we have to turn that in and get reimbursed? I think we have to turn this in and get reimbursed, but that's funded through that energy grant that we applied for and received. So just as a note there. So with that said, does anybody want any of these items or sub-items removed from the consent agenda and made upon a separate vote? Hearing no objection, I would entertain a motion to pass the consent agenda as presented.
I'd second that.
Any questions, comments, suggestions? I'll just make mine the motion. He can be the second.
I'll make the motion. We need a first.
Mine was a first.
Okay.
Okay, roll call, please.
Commissioner Patton.
Yay.
Commissioner Barwick.
Yay.
Commissioner Webb.
Yay.
Commissioner Stecklin.
Yay.
Mayor Absher.
Okay, so item 5A and B, we just sort of I just addressed in public comments, and again, within context, Jeff Mayer, the owner of this parcel of property, went through the appropriate process. All of this, as I read through the zoning board notes, only really relates to a setback issue. It's not that it's rezoning from a standpoint of making it it's buildable as proposed, as it's zoned. It's only that he's asking for a change in zoning for a setback issue. All that being said, as I mentioned before, he's not proceeding at this moment in time with the proposed project, which negates the reason for us to act on this, because it very well might change even if he does decide to proceed with it. So I'm going to table items 5A and 5B for future consideration, which brings us to item number 6, the street department, and Commissioner Webb.
Yes, item 6A, it's that time of the year, MFT resolution, getting ready to do our have a letting to do our overlay on the streets. This resolution that we're about to make a motion on, it's for $1 million, but that's not all the program. We've got to pull monies from other revenues, so we're looking at, in addition to that, $1,600,000 from the gas tax and another $175,000 from the road and bridge fund. But anyway, this resolution is for $1 million. So I'll make a motion to adopt resolution 2025-10, authorizing the use of motor fuel tax funds for the 2025 street overlay program. Doug's saying it's about 9 miles, 8 to 10 miles along in there. So, you know, that program kind of is a work in progress as the summer goes on, and we see how far we're going with our asphalt. So that's my motion.
I second that.
Any discussion?
Just to clarify, Jim, you said $1 million. Did that include the 175 plus the 160, or is that those
No.
two in addition to it?
Yeah, those two are in addition out of our other funds. So
Gotcha.
the motor fuel tax resolution is for
Gotcha.
the $1 million
Yeah.
even.
Yeah.
So,
600,000 gas and 175 road and bridge.
yeah.
So you're thinking we'll do 1,775 total?
Yeah, that'd be total. We're waiting for the
Bid.
engineer's estimates.
Okay.
We may have to cut a few streets or something to do with the grades.
Okay. Any other questions? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Patton?
Yay.
Commissioner Barwick?
Yay.
Commissioner Webb?
Yay.
Commissioner Steckland?
Yay.
Mayor Absher?
Yay. Item 6B, Commissioner Webb.
Yes, make a motion to approve the purchase of a Rhino roadway mower for the from the Little Tractor and Equipment Company. You'll see in your packet, the amount is, the net amount's $18,300. That does include a trade-in of $3,300, I believe. Yeah, $3,300 trade-in allowance. They did get other bids, if anybody cares to see them, but we got competitive bids from 2 other companies. So with that's my motion.
I'll second that.
And Doug, the roadway mower, you called me about this, I think, several weeks ago, and this has to do with the sidearm, right? This is more of a...
It's a wing on the right side only.
Right.
So you don't have anything out in the roadway for oncoming traffic.
Right. Okay.
A lot safer.
Okay, roll call, please.
Commissioner Patton?
Yay.
Commissioner Barwick?
Yay.
Commissioner Webb?
Yay.
Commissioner Steckland?
Yay.
Mayor Absher?
Yay. Item 6C.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to approve ordinance 4049, authorizing a 4-way stop at the intersection of North Russell and West Cox Street. This is up north of Route 13. We've had requests from some of the neighbors, and department has thoroughly looked it over, and we feel like this is warranted. Got a lot of kids crossing in that area, and I think it'd be a safety benefit to make that a 4-way stop.
I would second that.
Questions on 6C? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Patton?
Yay.
Commissioner Barwick?
Yay.
Commissioner Webb?
Yay.
Commissioner Steckland?
Yay.
Mayor Absher?
Yay. Item 7A, Commissioner Steckland.
All right, I'm going to bring up Brent to talk about this wastewater treatment plant phosphorus removal improvement thing. So.
Yeah, I'll give a little bit of a backstory on where this comes from. Our wastewater treatment plant here in town is regulated by Illinois EPA. Every 5 years, we apply for and receive a discharge permit that has parameters in that permit that we have to meet. This particular one is a phosphorus limit that we have to test for. And that phosphorus limit essentially is cut in half. So currently, the treatment plant will not meet that requirement. So we've known about this since the last permit in 2020, I guess. And there was language in there in a special condition that we had to start doing some analysis, some preparation to meet this new standard by 2030. And I know that seems like a long way off, but we just received our new permit, and the new standard is in that permit. We have to meet a 0.5 part per million phosphorus discharge in our concentration. So with that said, we looked into this a few years back because we had to submit some planning, some ideas to IEPA so they knew we were on target. Now we're to the point to where it's in the permit. They've actually set out a timeline, and we have to be meeting that discharge limit on January 1st, 2030. So with 5 years, this is going to be a substantial project. The work I did a few years back, we're probably going to be in the $5 million price range to do the system upgrades to allow us to meet this discharge permit. And we got those numbers based on another community in the area that has a very similar treatment plant that we do. They've already gone through the process, and they're going to be meeting this standard sooner rather than later. So we kind of mimicked what they did with some filtration, some chemical precipitation. So we had kind of a basis for the scope of this project. Now we have to get down into the heart of it and start the preliminary design. A project this big, typically, the best funding source is the IEPA revolving loan fund. We get less than 1% interest on the one we've got now. And a lot of times there's grants or debt forgiveness associated with those loans. So when you get a project this big, it's a lot of work on the engineer side because there's just a multitude of things they have to check off a list to get to this. First, we have to get on their list. We have to approve our project, and all this takes time. So this agreement tonight with Horner Schifrin is for that preliminary engineering, to get the scope of the project done, to get on the funding list, and then we can go into full-blown design after that. That's what we're voting on. It's just this preliminary part of this engineering. I think it's a lump sum of $30,000 to do this study and go through the initial parts of the IEPA paperwork and get the project started. But it's something we're going to have to do. It's in the permit. We're mandated. I'm not sure if it's actually came down from US EPA and IEPA is just following suit, or if it's IEPA's standard. But it's all based on the Clean Water Act and trying to, basically keep nutrients out of the waterways of the United States. Everybody's going to have to do this. All the major towns, which I think that means over 10,000 population or 1 million gallons per day treated. That criteria, everybody above that will have to meet this standard by 2030. So we're in the same boat a lot of people are. Fortunately, we have our debt service set up to account for a project like that, to be able to pay that debt service off from that EPA loan. So we're in a good position. It's just the length of time some of these take. We need to start this now and get this moving, because it might take 2 years to get on their list, and then once we know we're on their list, then we can start the full design and go from there, and hopefully have everything operational by 2030.
So you mentioned, if I heard you right, we just got our new permit for 25.
Actually, Tammy just put it down there for public review, I think for a month, and then it'll
I'm
be
assuming
fine
those
after
are
that.
good for 5 years?
5 years, yeah.
So we've got the new permit, now we've got the 5 years to
Yeah.
get the work done.
And all these permits contain usually something that they're having you monitor and report. And when you start seeing that, that means something's coming in
Yeah.
the future.
Yeah.
So, because they're collecting data on what people are actually discharging. There are some things coming up past 2030 that we're actually starting to have to look at right now. So we're doing that, but what's on the table right now is this phosphorus limit. It's going to be in the permit, and there's a timeline and some dates that we have to meet. So I'm asking for approval for Horner Schifrin to start this process.
Okay.
All right, thanks, Brent. All right, so I will make the motion to approve agreement with Horner Schifrin for the wastewater treatment plant phosphorus removal improvement.
Second that.
Okay, roll call, please.
Commissioner Patton,
Abstain?
Commissioner Barwick,
Yay.
Commissioner Webb,
Yay.
Commissioner Stecklin,
Yay.
Mayor Absher.
Yay. Item 7B.
All right, this is for I make a motion to approve the purchase of an Exmark 31 horsepower 72-inch cut mower from Little Tractor and Equipment for $15,519 And like the street departments, we got multiple bids on this, and this was equal to one from out of town, so we took the one in town. Same price.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Patton,
Yay.
Commissioner Barwick,
Yay.
Commissioner Webb,
Yay.
Commissioner Stecklin,
Yay.
Mayor Absher.
Yay. All right, item 8A is another, the most current list of the TIF grant applications in your packet. I think Cody has got these categorized the way you guys asked last time, right?
Yeah, it's taken me 3 meetings, sorry about that, but I think I've got all the information on there now. We are about almost halfway through the residential money. Residential TIF 1 on the landlords, we're about 70% through the money and only about 10% on residential TIF 2. So I'm not sure what the reasoning behind that is necessarily, but on the owner-occupied side, we're, like I said, we're nearing the halfway point. So historically, we've committed all the money sometime in July, and I would say towards the end of July, assuming the trend holds, that will remain true this year as well.
Okay. Somebody want to make that motion?
Sure, I'll make a motion that we approve the eligible TIF grant applications received through June the 5th, 2025.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Patton,
Yay.
Commissioner Barwick,
Yay.
Commissioner Webb,
Yay.
Commissioner Stecklin,
Yay.
Mayor Absher.
Yay.
Sorry.
Item 9A, Commissioner Stecklin.
All right, so this is out at the pavilion. You know, if you've gone by there, you've seen that we got the first part of that all done. All of the big growth around those ponds has been taken out for the most part. There's still some cleanup to do on that, but this is now the riprap, pond 1 and pond 2. So that would be my motion, is that we approve a quote from stormwater erosion specialist to riprap specified sections of the detention ponds.
Second that.
And this, we're paying this with North Commercial TIF funds, correct? Okay. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Patton,
Yay.
Commissioner Barwick,
Yay.
Commissioner Webb,
Yay.
Commissioner Stecklin,
Yay.
Mayor Absher.
Yay. Item 10A, we had some brick that is broken and fallen off from the very top of the clock tower, which alerted us to problems. I think that was related probably to the significant amount of icing we had over the winter, and just the freeze-thaw cycle caused some of that brick. We've known for a while some of the mortar was being discolored, and we were getting, we've had to clean that several times. That's been a problem. This is 50-year-old brick on the clock tower at this point. We developed requests for proposals, sent them out. We got a lot of interest, and unfortunately only had one bidder come to the pre-bid meeting. Still expected other bids. However, when the deadline came, we only had one bid from Ski Masonry, which is here local. It's for $158,900. This is complete tuck pointing of the whole tower. Then cleaning, sealing of the tower clock, which will, I think, solve some of that fungus or mold issue that we've had once that's sealed. So I just wanted to point out this is a not to exceed bid. I've talked to Greg Kwasniewski, and he thinks it will be less than this amount, but this is the top amount. So it is a time and material contract. A lot of moving parts to that, when they can get the lifts, what we've got going on the center square, and when he can and can't work, and that kind of thing. So we asked him sort of for the worst case scenario so that we didn't get surprised. And we will be, if you approve this, paying this from Hub TIF funds. Correct, Cody? So that would be my motion to approve a bid not to exceed $158,900 from Ski Masonry to tuck point, clean, seal all masonry on the clock tower.
Second that.
Any questions on this?
I was curious what the approximate height is of the towers.
It's about 85 feet to the bottom of the bell tower, I
Okay.
believe, plus or minus a foot or two, right, Doug? 85, 84 feet. It's about another 6 or no more than that. The bell tower itself's another 12. Does that sound right? Or 10? The bell tower
Yes.
opening?
Yes, yes, 12.
Yeah.
It's 12.
Thank you.
12, so 84, 85 feet to the bottom of the brick, the top, highest row course of bricks, I think.
And when you count the ladder crossings, you can do that.
Once I get past 6, I go back down.
Yeah, it's quite a walk.
Quick question, I'm sure that they'll have to use some type of lift to
Yeah.
do it. When they are not working, can we park that somewhere off-site?
Yes, we'll be parking it back here off the Union Street city municipal parking lot, which is where we've been parking some of the others that need.
Perfect, yeah.
Yeah, they know they have to do that because we've talked about all the events that we've got going.
Okay.
Any other questions? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Patton.
Yay.
Commissioner Barwick.
Yay.
Commissioner Webb.
Yay.
Commissioner Steckland.
Yay.
Mayor Absher.
Yay. All right, item 10B can be made relatively complicated, and I'll invite Terrence to come up later, and you can make it complicated if you like, but I want to give the simple version of this. So Terrence has been after us for a number of years to look into switching our copper-based phone system across all city departments to an IP-based phone system. The impetus for that is at some point in time, copper is going to be phased out. They keep telling us that. Who knows when that finally comes, but not only will it be phased out, but it's becoming less and less reliable. We had a situation last year where they cut a line back here and we were down, and that's pretty problematic for city government. So honestly, I really didn't want to do this back when you first started because my old phone works just fine. And I'm not one of those that likes all the bells and whistles on the phone, and it just didn't interest me that much. Let me tell you what did interest me, however. So we're also paying about between $7,000 and $8,000 a month in phone bills. Now that's for all the long distance, the copper lines, well over 100 copper CO lines, right? So this proposal, while it does require us to outlay $93,000 for all the equipment, all the routers, the phone sets, and all of that, it also takes our monthly phone bill from that $7,000 to $8,000 down to, if you look at one of the last pages, give you the page number here. It says page 94 of 98. I know it's hard to read because it's printed over. If you can find that. Oh, no, I'm sorry. That's still not right.
It's about $1,300.
It's $1,138 per month. So it takes that, just say $7,500 down to about $1,100 and change. So you do an easy math of saving $6,000 a month. It will take us about 15 months to break even. After 15 months, we're about $7,000 a month to the good. So that is what I was interested in, not the fancy phone set. But the other issue that Terrence has been all very hot and heavy and bothered about is that this system provides failover protection. So in the event that we had a major line cut, because there's still a copper element to this, even though we'll be going over IP, but if you want to speak to this failover issue, because this is not my cup of tea, but my understanding is in a natural disaster or just a simple cut like that, is that this thing switches over to a failover system so that basically our constituents still are able to get to us. In the past when that's happened, here's how that works. We publish a cell phone number on social media. Either Tammy or Charlotte or somebody else that's standing around has to answer that singular cell phone. And that's only happened 3 times since I've been here, but it's a pain. It's a real pain, not just for those that call in, but we're basically relaying cell phone calls over radios and things like that. So this failover system, as Terrence has designed it and spec'd it, is supposed to be our contingency in that kind of a case. So it really does save us a lot of money. and provide us something we simply don't have at this point, which is continuous service in the case of those. So, but for me, it was that 15-month payback period, and we'll save money from there on out, assuming that the IP world doesn't change and somebody come up with a better phone system other than IP. But I think we'll be good to go for many years once we switch over to that. We will get fancy phone sets that will cause me pain because I still have not figured out the one I have. But somebody, I hope, come teach me how to work my speakerphone this time.
We've had IP phones for 12 years. So our street department, wastewater, and Boynton, they are already running off of an IP phone system.
Yeah.
As it is.
But not City Hall, not, right?
No, sir.
Not
Are those
most.
phones compatible with this new system, or will they be replaced with the new system?
I do that to everybody else, so.
Good call.
Sorry. So this would be a whole new system. It's still Mitel. Our phone system currently that we have is Mitel, so this is the new generation of Mitel.
So each of those handsets that are already IP based at Boynton, for example, they will get new handsets that would be
That is correct.
the exact same across the city. Every phone you go to is going to be the same.
Exactly.
Some
I
may,
would say, oh, yes.
some may have a few more features
Yes,
than
sir.
others. I don't need one of those with all the features.
Okay.
He wants a flip phone.
I just need to pick up the phone.
During installation, will there be any interruption in the 911 service?
Oh, no. Yeah, that's and really, I think of the 911 as well as the police department overall. And so we'll be working with that caddy system if it's approved to make sure that we'll have a good, transfer or rate. So we won't have any kind of interferences on that, whether it be on the weekend or something like that. Because it's same for the water department as well as City Hall and everything else. I don't want to see a lot of downtime and interference and all that. And we're going to add more answer machines for that.
So this $93,124.86, which is our upfront part of this contract, we will be paying out of the capital replacement fund, which is money we set back a little bit each year to try to deal with stuff like this. It won't come out of the general fund, which is a good thing. But the $7,000 savings will get basically saved across all departments. Most of it that'll hit at general fund, but sewer department would benefit their portion of the phone bills and so forth. So ultimately, this is going to make future years easy budgetarily, a little bit easier, just a tiny bit, but it makes a lot of sense from a business standpoint. I hope this install probably is a little more complicated than what I'm thinking, but I'll lean on you to make sure that happens.
So it sounds like it's a wireless technology, is that what?
Not really wireless, it's just over internet instead of over copper lines.
Correct.
Okay.
So,
Most IP systems that we see around in our area, they're 100% IP based. You lose the internet, you lose your phones. And that was a concern. So one of the things that, shopped around, talked with, several different people about, I wanted a system that if we lost the internet, that it'll kick over to an analog line. And so that's exactly what's been proposed to us. We lose internet, it kicks over to an analog line. Now, eventually, right now we're looking, at some savings. As the years go by, we're going to see more additional savings because we can keep eliminating analog lines and different things as we go by, as we learn more and more. I mean, we've got elevator lines, we've got fax lines, so we'll start identifying more lines that we can start getting rid of as well down the road. And this system, we own it, or the city will own it. So it's not like we're renting it, it's any of those sort of different things.
yeah, we got two other proposals that were more along the line of renting it, and we were going to end up paying between $4,000 and $6,000 a month, and there was just not that significant of a savings, and they didn't do exactly the failover schematic that you wanted. So anyway, I'll just turn that into a motion to approve the bid from Katie Business Technologies to migrate all city landlines to a voice over IP system.
Second.
Okay, any other discussion?
I just have one question. I'm just curious. The SWA MIV BUS UC Advantage 3-year, that's a big number in each department. What is that? There's 651 of it at City Hall.
I don't have that in front of me as far as the quote goes, but I would think that would probably be some sort of a warranty or something. What is it? SWB?
Well, each one's got it, like,
What page is
sounds like a
that? What
module.
page is the bottom?
well, it's 94,
It might be a module.
91,
Or a controller.
91, excuse me. Yeah, I mean, and the fire department's got 99, City Hall's got 651, the hub has 113.
Those sounds like controllers, like a physical controller. I don't know.
So that's not how many sets we have. There's not 651 phone lines, or, you know. That looks like some kind of a warranty thing maybe, but what is this? I don't know what the number means. It's $3.86 times a lot of numbers. Just wondering what that was. Sorry.
You want to look at this page?
Didn't want to throw you.
See if that rings a bell. I think this is under the voicemail and all that kind of part. As you get this SMB controller mailbox
Yes.
licenses.
Yes.
Here's what he's talking about.
Yes.
What do we have, 651?
Well, I think they're talking about because that's over a 3-year period.
So it's really that level.
I believe so.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, just curious.
Wait a second. Any other questions?
I did have a couple. I see that this requires a license. Is this license a one-time or is it annual or what?
The license is for the IP phones themselves. Does it say like software assurance license?
Can't remember where I saw it now. Hang on.
And I'm sorry, I didn't bring this proposal with me.
New Mitel system warranty maintenance date will begin when the Mitel licenses are applied to the new system. I didn't know if it was like software where you paid a license fee for each.
It's kind of like software. So this would be the software assurance. Honestly, we've been paying software assurance for the current phone systems that we have already. So that's like software firmware upgrades.
Yeah.
Like just a license.
And did we get any type of support plan like that's listed here?
We are already paying a support plan with Caddy system. A few years back, Caddy took over for the Frontier with our Mitel system. And so we didn't select a plan yet because we're already paying for one. I think it's the gold or whatever.
Software assurance only, gold plan, and then a platinum plan.
Yeah, so it's the lowest plan that we have.
So which plan are we going to have, the bronze or the platinum, gold?
We're on that gold now, and that will continue.
Okay.
Will we still get our voicemail? I know this is a silly question, but I use this all the time. The voicemails that come over our email,
Yes.
we'll still get it that way?
You can-
Probably look different, but similar functionality?
Yes. Yes. Yeah, so they'll have a cell phone app as well. So you can use your phone, your cell phone to emulate your desk phone.
Nope.
There's going to be a lot of bells and whistles, so.
I just want to know, is it going to
But as
come
far
over
as the
my email?
emails, yes, sir. If they email you, they'll leave you a voicemail. It'll come straight to your email, just like it normally does. There will be no
Nope.
change in that.
I believe that was a hard no.
Could we turn that part off? Huh? Doug says he wants it.
Doug needs another mailbox.
Any other questions? You had a second, right? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Patton.
Yay.
Commissioner Barwick.
Yay.
Commissioner Webb.
Yay.
Commissioner Stecklin.
Yes.
Mayor Absher.
Yay. Item 11, Commissioner reports. Doug, we'll start with you if you got anything.
Treasurer's office is good this time, thank you.
Commissioner Barwick?
I have a report from the police department for the month of May. 247 city ordinance violations, 366 criminal/traffic citations, 42 warrant arrests, 433 incidents reported, 161 traffic accidents and 2 DUIs, 2,344 dispatched calls, 1,804 emergency calls, 4,357 non-emergency calls, and 181 ambulance calls. That's all I have.
Okay, Commissioner Steckland.
Since last council, Water Department reports 2 new service taps, 5 water leaks repaired, 7 services were updated, 4 fire hydrants were repaired, and 8 meter pits were repaired or replaced. Just general knowledge, Miss Illinois Scholarship Organization will present Miss Illinois and Miss Illinois Teen on June 25 and 26 at the Marion Civic Center, so be sure and attend that. It's a big deal here in town.
Commissioner Webb?
Yeah, street department, Doug was telling me earlier today, we've taken in over 1,900 loads of brush, so we really applaud the street department, and all the other departments has helped in this matter, but that's really helped expedite getting the brush off the right-of-ways out in the county, and we appreciate that, so looking better. So did some ditching on Aikman, Bentley, and Duncan streets, cleaning ditches on Washington, Carter, and Reeve streets, doing some pavement striping and signage throughout the city. Getting the roads ready for this overlay program that we just voted on earlier, so a lot of prep work ahead for that as well. The cemetery, we had 11 burials in the month of May. That's all I have. Unless you had something, Doug, did you have anything to add? Okay.
Okay, anything to come before the council under miscellaneous? Cody?
Happy to report all the electrical install was completed last Friday at Boynton Street Community Center. And we have our punch list meeting in the morning, so we're hoping that at the conclusion of that meeting and over the next remaining part of this week and next week, all those punch list items can be taken care of and the building can officially get handed over to us. And then one other thing I wanted to mention, talked to Doug on Friday, as did several other people, I think. We had over 2 inches of rain in under an hour as part of that storm on Friday, and obviously there were some flooding concerns in different parts of town. At that pace, it's really hard to combat that. Where we see our systems acting as they're supposed to is that the water went down rather quickly. And so I commend Doug and his team for getting ahead of somehow all the rain this spring in order to make sure that the water goes down quickly after the rain stops. And that's what we saw on Friday. So that's it.
I want to add one thing. Union Pacific Railroad is responsible for all the debris at the railroad bridge down there that you see from Wildcat Drive. We've cleaned it in the past, but with all the rain we've had, we're not able to get out there. So I met Union Pacific at 8 o'clock Friday night, and we went down there and looked at it after all that rain. They are going to bring in 2 rail cars and a big machine on there and clean all that for us. So I just want to let you know that's coming up within a week. So that's going to help us a lot. So, all the hailstorm, all the stuff ice storm we had, all that debris from Ever Creek around has ended up down there. So we was able to get down there and open it up partially, and it drained, but they're going to clean it all. It's really affecting their bridge too. So just want to add that in. So thank you.
Wendy, you have anything?
Chief? No, sir.
Okay, anybody have a need for a closed or executive session this evening? Okay, hearing no need, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion we adjourn.
Second?
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Patton?
Yay.
Commissioner Barwick?
Yay.
Commissioner Webb?
Yay.
Commissioner Steckland?
Yay.
Mayor Absher?
Yay. Thank you all. Hey, Doug, I got a question for you.